Hello, as you probably know, or maybe you don't, right now there are no campfires or charcoal grills allowed in the Lincoln National Forest. So I'm going to show you some good places to do free dispersed camping where it's not freezing cold and you really don't need a campfire. Do you see the sign here? It's explaining that there's no campfires, there are no charcoal grills allowed right now. None whatsoever. We're too dry. In fact, even on private property, Otero County, which is the county that covers this area, has outlawed all campfires at 5,500 feet or above, which this area is. So no campfires. Well, I know that a lot of people from El Paso and Las Cruces and other low-lying areas, which are much, much hotter, once you get up here, you feel cold. Cloudcroft is roughly 8,600 to 9,000 feet, 9,500 feet areas of camp, and you're going to feel a little bit colder there. This area, you're going to feel warmer. It's still gloriously cool compared to down in the desert or low-lying areas elsewhere in New Mexico or in Texas. So this is a real good place to come camping when you can't have a campfire because it's much more milder climate, but it's not hot. It's still very comfortable, and there are many, many places to camp here. The road we are on is called Car Canyon Gap Road. When you're in Highway 82 and you go Highway 82 up from Alamogordo into the Sacramento Mountains, and the forest on here is called the Lincoln National Forest. As you go up Highway 82, you will eventually at the summit hit Cloudcroft, which is a little tiny, tiny village. It's teeny tiny village, and you just keep traveling through Cloudcroft then to Mayhill. Mayhill is about 16, 17 miles further along Highway 82. That's even smaller, even tinier. But you know what's nice about being near this area? You're going to be near the Mayhill Cafe. The Mayhill Cafe is the only cafe in Mayhill, and I'm telling you, that is the best cafe on the mountain as far as just regular American style good home cooking. It really is delicious. Really is delicious. You can cook, but you can't make a charcoal fire and you can't make a campfire. I'll stop talking for a little bit and then pick up talking once we're at the campground. Meanwhile, enjoy this. This campsite is a good one for when you can't have a campfire. Because right now we're still very dry and we are on restrictions. No campfires at all allowed in the Lincoln National Forest or even on private land above 5,500 feet. The reason this is so bare is there had been a forest fire here before, not too many years ago. But it's nice and warm down here, but not hot. And this is a nice wide place. It's easy access, good for a group of people or for a large family who have kids to play in. All of this area
The dirt road's over there. We came in on that. This is the arroyo. It's dry. It's very dry. Obviously, during the rainy season, this can get pretty, rush and go fast and full. This is just one of many campsites. You may be able to see that bare mountain beyond there. That's also from a forest fire. That was from the ATV forest fire. Don't ride ATVs up here. When it's this dry, all ATVs do is cause sparks that cause fires. We've only dropped about 1,500 to 2,000 feet below Cloudcroft, but we're still in the Sacramento Mountains. We're a little bit beyond Mayhill. And this is a wonderful place to camp, and you don't need a fire. You won't get chilled. I mean, as long as you wear some sweaters and maybe a jacket, at night. If you're coming from the desert, because I know what it's like. I did that for years. If you're coming from the desert, your body gets used to like 105 degrees. And so it seems cool up here. Of course, now that I've been living up here for a while, I mean, my body has adjusted. I find 105 degree temperature just unbearable. But I'm very comfortable in 60 degrees. Very. You okay, Jack? Let's not wee-wee on our leash, huh? I am so pleased. He's going to go to a groomer on Tuesday. Girl, he's going bathroom. We're not going to take pictures of that. Groomers are open now in New Mexico. And the groomer, she grooms out of her house. She takes animals on appointment. And so I arranged it with her today through Facebook. And it turns out she's just right down the mountain. Very close by. I mean, for around here, 30 minutes away. Well, actually, 40 minutes away, but that's close around here. See, that used to be covered in pine trees, just like these pine trees here. That hill was covered in pine trees, but burned up. Burned up thanks to a quite by accidentally started forest fire. But once a spark gets something going, it blazes and it rages all over the mountains. That's why you're going to be hearing me talk until we allow campfires. El Paso, Las Cruces, what are you doing there? What are you doing in that filthy air? Absolutely filthy, disgusting air. Unbearable heat. This past week, El Paso has been on heat advisories and red air pollution days. If you're living there, you may not be able to see it because a lot of it's ozone. But it is a killer. Get out of there. Move up here. There's so many places to live up here on the mountains. Either in Cloudcroft or outside of it. I would prefer outside of it. I'm outside of it. Especially if you can work from home. But if you need something like town, because your skills do not allow you to work from home, then I would suggest Ruidoso. Because Ruidoso has turned into a real city. There are all kinds of professions that can work in Ruidoso. They're at 6,900 feet. It's in a beautiful area at the surrounding a dormant volcano, which in English is called White Mountain, and in Spanish is called Sierra Blanca, and its nickname is Mount Baldy. When I was growing up and into the 1980s, there was snow on that mountain year-round. I can well remember going to a certain spot in El Paso when I would come home and visit in the summer. And I'd get up to a certain spot that you could get to El Paso and look over, and you could see Mount Baldy, Sierra Blanca. so easily because there was snow. It was snow-capped. You can't do that anymore. Haven't been able to do that since the 1990s. We'll just go on a little walk here. He's going to look so much better and feel so much better once this is done. This way, Jack. This way, Jack. Let's go this way. Oh, big boy. Big boy. That's a juniper. Young one. Hold on. We're going to turn this around. See if this will still work. I'm getting a hand cramp, not sure why. So I had to switch hands. Jack's been to the groomer. The first camping spot you see is the one where, I parked the truck. And then you can just backpack in here and camp anywhere you like if you don't want to camp at the spot where the truck is. And we are still, in spite of the fact that we got some rain, on June 11th, my mother's 89th birthday. Had she been alive in the flesh, she would have turned 89, June 11th. We had been in a 3-month drought. 3 months. No rain. And it poured. It poured rain. June 11th. Felt like a sign. See, here's a nice flat area. Nice flat area for camping. My mother loved the mountains up here. I mean, she'd been coming up here since she was a child. She was born in 1931, so of course when she was a child, that was a long time ago. And naturally, she introduced her children to Cloudcroft. She loved these mountains, so I was excited that it rained on June 11th. Very excited, because boy, we need the rain badly. And it rained again on June 12th. A lot. Lots of rain. So exciting. So we have had that rain, but it's still not enough to say that we're out of the drought. So if you want to come camp up here, where I am showing you is a great place for dispersed free camping and not needing a campfire, because it's so much warmer down here. Down here in the Mayhill region. Let's look at this pretty flower. The high at my place was 72 degrees. And down here, I'd say it's about 79 degrees right now. 79 or 78. That sure beats 95 and 100 down in the desert. There's the road we are coming from. Way past there is where the truck's parked and a nice campground. And it's in its own right. And again, all of this is free camping. National Forest, Lincoln National Forest. See the black bark? That was from the forest fire, the very bad forest fire in 2002 that came through here. These trees survived it, but that black bark is from the forest fire. And of course, the bare mountains over there, those trees did not survive. They burned up. That's a terrible forest fire. And again, an ATV spark started that one. It's quite accidental, but it just ruined. Good grief, that was 18 years ago, and you can tell how it's just not recovered up on those mountains. Probably be another 82 years or so before it does. It takes about 100 years for it to look so much better. any rate, I had been discussing before this couple, this married couple about my age, you know, so they're in early old age. Their kids are grown. They probably have grandkids if they had kids themselves. And instead of seeing the woman elk just yards from them, and instead of seeing the beautiful full moon, they had their noses buried in their devices. She had hers buried in her cell phone. He had his buried in, looked like a tablet, or a small laptop. I mean, I didn't stare, but turn off your devices when you come up here. Enjoy yourself. Where we are right now is actually a cell phone dead zone. I'm sure those people, I have the ability to do it too from my place, but I don't. I mean, you can flip on the router Wi-Fi, the internet router, and get your Wi-Fi, and then you can use your devices. I can do that at my place, but I don't. I keep my Wi-Fi off. Come on, let's get over this. Oh, what a big boy. If you're coming up to stay at a cabin or something and they offer you Wi-Fi, or gosh, if it's your cabin, or in this case, this is these people, that wasn't their cabin. They must have been friends of the cabin owners. Turn your Wi-Fi off and enjoy the mountains. Enjoy it up here. You don't have to be hooked to your electronic devices, for heaven's sake. Enjoy yourselves up here. Get into the smell of the forest, seeing the wild animals. I mean, there was a woman elk just a few yards from them. She was watching Buddy very carefully. Did those people see her? No. Because they weren't looking up. Nobody else is around. I guess I'm antisocial. I love it when no one else is around. See, look, close up of that bark. It survived the fire. Look at that. Some of these burned down to, that's what they thought. Boy, I remember that fire. There was another fire near Mayhill a few years back. That was caused by an electrical line that fell to the very dry ground. Pitch a tent right there. That got awfully close to Mayhill. They got it out though, but boy, that was awful. I guess I should be more understanding. I guess I'm getting grumpier in my old age. Less tolerant. I should be getting more tolerant. I was far more tolerant when I was younger. I'm thinking about somebody, I don't know if they were local or if they just drove up here to the mountains. But then they doused themselves with gasoline and set themselves on fire along with their vehicle. You've got to be really, really messed up to do that. That fire spread. They got the fire out quickly. I don't think the man survived. Well, I'm not going to crawl it up and down all these. I'm old. I'm not going to do it. But you can see further on that way. Let me see if I can. Lots more area to camp. Clearly this pathway used to be for ATVs, but they've blocked it off to ATVs. And you can understand why after all this huge fire that started. due to one guy driving his ATV innocently. The spark ignited. So when you come up here, don't bring your ATVs, not now. Wait until we're not in high fire danger. In fact, best not to bring them at all, in my opinion. They're so noisy. You can't really enjoy the trail when you've got all that motorized noise. Get out there and hike the trail. Walk it, sit and listen. This is heaven on earth.
All right, now we're going to leave camp and we're going to head back. Don't want anyone to get lost. So we leave this camp, and of course on Car Canyon Gap Road, which is the road you're taking, this will be your first obvious dispersed campsite as you're coming. Now up here we get to this dirt road, and you're going to see Car Canyon Gap. Now you could turn left. If you turn left, you are going to go through the forest even more. You'll go up high, you'll come down, you'll come to dips and whatnot. And there are many, many dispersed camping sites all along here. Very nice sites. You turn right, you're heading back to Mayhill, back to civilization. And I do mean that about civilization. You are very remote here. There is no cell phone service here. Be prepared with first aid. Should something happen, you can't call for help here. In fact, that's true over much of the mountain. They really need to do something about a cell service, because there's many areas in this mountain where there is absolutely zilch cell phone service, and this is one of them. All right, you're coming through here on Car Canyon Gap Road. How to get to it? Now, when you come up Highway 82, you go through Cloudcroft, then you go through Mayhill. Now, just past Mayhill, you'll go about a mile. Be looking for a big sign on your right that says Car Canyon Gap Road. And this, just beyond that, you'll see a sign that says, you'll see the road, the gravel road, and you turn left. And the number of the road is 607. Car Canyon Gap Road will be the big sign on your right. Then you see the 607 gravel road on your left. It's about a mile past Mayhill. You take the left and you start heading up. You'll come quickly to a cattle guard and some fencing. You might think, oh, I'm not supposed to go through. Yes, you can go through. Come on through. As long as you see the little sign that says 607, you know you're on the right road. And you just come on up here. It's very temperate down here because we're at 6,500 feet in the Mayhill area. That is 400 feet lower than Ruidoso. Ruidoso is at 6,900 feet. And everybody knows, Ruidoso is a lot warmer than Cloudcroft. When Cloudcroft is 75, Ruidoso is 85. See this big, huge mountain on your left that's completely bare? It used to be covered in pine trees, but unfortunately, a forest fire, I think it was back in 2002, completely devastated this area. And that forest fire was started by an ATV spark. A man was riding his ATV. There was a spark. It just ignited so much all over this area. And it's going to take 100 years for some of these mountains to recover from the devastation that fires can happen so accidentally. And so that's why we do have high fire danger right now anyway, because we're so dry. And why campfires and charcoal grills are illegal. In fact, the fine for starting a campfire around here is, I think, $5,000, the fine. Don't want that. One of the reasons I decided to make this video, and I know I sound like a nag just constantly talking about fire, but really, yesterday a woman saw campers who made a big whopping campfire off of Highway 244. She called it into the sheriff's, and I don't know what happened to those people, but I'm sure they regret having started a fire, a campfire, even though it didn't get out of hand. The point is, we're not going to give you an opportunity to let it get out of hand because it's so dangerous. right now, I'm recording June 21st. The skies over El Paso and Las Cruces are all that mountain range is completely obliterated from the smoke from forest fires that are going on in the Gila National Forest in New Mexico and the national forests in Arizona. Some of those areas are on fire, and the smoke is huge, and it's blown over to El Paso and Las Cruces. When I was down in Alamogordo the other day, I could not believe how ghastly the sky looked. Up here, we're starting to see some effects of that. It looks like it's not the cobalt blue like you see here. It's not quite, because we're getting some of that smoke from those forest fires blowing over here. I think we started to get that about 2 days ago. I could actually slightly smell some smoke, and I thought, where's the fire? And I drove around and then gotten self-ranged and learned that that's what it was. Terrible devastation. We don't aim to have that happen here in the Cloudcroft Mayhill area, not at all. So you want to come camp? Have a good time. Here's a wonderful area, lower elevation, comfortable to camp, and you'll be away from a lot of people. So that's nice. Now we're going to come down this gravel road, and pretty soon we're going to hook up to Highway 82, and to get back to Cloudcroft, back to El Paso, Las Cruces, you just turn right. And if you're up here camping, and let's say you think, oh gosh, we can't start a campfire for the morning, why don't we go in someplace for breakfast on Saturday and Sunday? I highly recommend the Mayhill Cafe. I have nothing to do with them. I don't work there. I don't partly own that. Nothing like that. It's just I think that's the best darned cafe. They have excellent food and excellent service. It's actually the best on the mountain as far as that's concerned, in my opinion. Though, of course, if you want to travel to Cloudcroft, you can always go to Mad Jack's Barbecue. He's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday now. Or Lupre's Global Comfort Food. Boy, that's a New York chef there. That's also in Cloudcroft. Really good places to eat. Here, we're turning right. And in just about a mile and a third, you're going to hit the teeny tiny little spot called Mayhill. And then you just keep swerving around the corner and you head to Cloudcroft eventually. Bye-bye.